Okay, tonight's learning should be an incredible schos aliyas neshama for Yitzchak ben Rav Menachem Mendel, the Siyata Deshmaya. The learning of the entire Chabura, the Chizik, should bring Yitzchak ben Menachem Mendel to a higher and higher place in Gan Eden Shalmeila, closer to the Kisei HaKavod, as he is Nene Miziv Hashchina, and it should be a Milatz Yosher for his entire Mishpacha and the entire Chabura. And with that, let's learn some Torah. You give them a base. In the middle of a little bit of a difficult Gemara, Baruch Hashem, it was actually a perfect time to up the Chazara ante because this is a hard Gemara. So if you don't actually Chazer, it's one of those things that, go in one ear, out the other, and you forget you even learned it. So we pick it up from what we did yesterday, a quick running start, as they say. V'amar Rav Abba. My plan is it's 9:08. It's a drop late. I apologize again due to the rain. Plan is 8:08, excuse me. Thank you. Plan is to go to 8:20, 8:21, leaving the last 4 or 5 minutes so Ilam could read the Gemara themselves. V'amar Rav Abba, Amar Rav Huna. Yud Gimel Amid Beis, approximately 15 lines down. First one on line is Delesnaihu Dami. Ve'amar Rav Abba Rav Huna. Ha Boitzer Ligas. Someone who harvests grapes ligas for the winery, for the wine press. The halacha is ein loy yadais. There's no din of yadais. Literally means a handle, which we know by now is the din in Toma of the Taira. This means that generally if I am tummy and I touch food, the food becomes tummy. What about the yad, the handle of the food? I touch that little stem of the apple. I touch the vine of the grape. That says the Gemara, usually it transmits Toma. But over here, since you're harvesting it for wine, therefore it does not. V'Rav Menashia Bar Gada Erev Tov Rav Shragi, just to let you enjoy some of the sushi vicariously and some of the candy that you can enjoy over the Zoom. The sushi you could, but not the candy. And we're in the middle of a chazar of Rav Menashia Bar Gada Amar Rav Huna. Ha koitzer l'schach, you're cutting down wheat to be used as schach. Ein lo yadis. Again, you got the stalk of wheat. Oh, Rav Shagi, good to see you. You got the stalk of wheat, and you got the kernel at the top. The kernel is the food, the stalk is not. You touch the stalk, which is the yad, does not transmit tama to the kernel. Why? Says the Gemara. Doesn't say why yet. So now says the Gemara. Here it goes. Now let's everyone zone in. This is the two difficult lines, which we learned already, Baruch Hashem. Man di Amar Kaitzer. According to the second man Amar, Ramanasha Bar Gadam Rav Huna, that he says that you're harvesting, you're cutting down the wheat, and there's no din of yadais. Kol Shekin, certainly Baitzer. Certainly in the case of the grapes, there's no din of yadais. Why? Because you're not happy for the vine to be there inside your wine. Why? That rhymes. Because you don't want excess vines in your wine. We said crunchy wine is not geshmak, but nimsaye literally means it soaks up, it absorbs the wine. So according to the second opinion, he'll agree with the first opinion. However, Manda Amar Baitzer, according to the opinion that says, Baitzer, when you cut down the grapes for harvesting, there's no din of yadais, she'in lo yadais, aval, however, Kaitzer, in the second case of cutting down the wheat, yesh loy yadais. There is a din of yadais. Why is there a din of yadais? Because you're happy. You're happy for your wheat to have the kernel Erev Tov Rav Yaakov. You're happy for there to be the kernel. Why are you happy for there to be the kernel? To be able to use it as chach. Ki heichi, so that Deloi levadron, it does not scatter. Levadron, scatter. How does the kernel ensure that it does not scatter? We're still holding a shalosh shodas, Hashem Yirachim. How does the kernel ensure that it doesn't scatter? It's a little bit heavier, and therefore it doesn't scatter. So again, according to the first opinion, does it hold to the second opinion? The answer is no. But according to the second opinion, does it hold to the first opinion? The answer is yes. That was yesterday. That is a very, in my opinion, difficult, challenging Gemara from reading to comprehension to all of the above. not just because it's some of a Torah which has its own level of PTSD, but that's just the way that it goes. Are we clear? Yes. Says the Gemara, Nima, Dira Menashia Bar Gada Tanohi. Says the Gemara, let us suggest that which we just said is a machloikes Tanoi. Again, what did we just say? We said the first opinion holds you harvest for grapes, there's no din of yodis. The second opinion holds you harvest for wheat, there's no din of yodis. We explained that according to the first opinion, but he would not hold of according to the second opinion, he would not hold of the first opinion. However, did I say it wrong? One more time. According to the second opinion, yes, I said it wrong. Thank you. According to the second opinion, he would certainly hold that the first opinion is no din of yadis. Why? Because you do not want the vine to be there. But according to the first opinion, do you want the wheat and the kernel to be there? The answer is yes. Why do you want the wheat and the kernel to be there? Because it adds weight. And therefore, maybe there is a din of yadis.
Is it the stalk that holds the grain from falling? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so it's really both, but we're dealing with from a schach angle. So if these are my stalks of wheat, apologize whoever's going to use these. If these are my stalks of wheat, right? So if it was missing the head over here, this is the heavy part. So if it was missing this, and I just had these little sticks on top of my sukkah, what would happen? The whole thing would fall right through. But now that I have the head, which is the part that has the kernel, it gives a little bit of weight. And now they're going to sit on top of each other, and then it will be a good schach. And therefore, maybe there is a din of yadis. So suggest the Gemara, let us say it is a machlaikas tanoim. De tan ya. We learned in the Brisa. Chavra, a bunch of interesting words coming up. Baruch Hashem for Art Scroll many moons ago that was transcribed into my Gemara. Suke te'enim ubahem te'enim. Fig branches that have figs on them. Suche te'enim is a fig branch. Ubahen te'enim, and on them there are figs. Parachilim, Rebelli, we're going to have to ship you a Gemara or something. We have to ship you a Gemara. No, you're real Gemara. Gemara. We'll have to get you one. Okay. Parchilin, vines. Obahen anavim, vines that have grapes. Kashin, straw. Ubahen shiboilim, and they have ears of grain. Machbeidois, brooms of palms. Now you know this came straight from Art Scroll. You know, the lulav guy. Ubahen tamarim, and there are dates on them. So you have all these items, and what's the point? They're all two-part items. You have the fruit. Let's go with the fig branches. I think that's the easiest one. You have a branch. Shebalim is grain. Ears of grain, literally. Kashin is the straw. No, it's actually a very interesting point. I believe it is the same thing. I believe that's actually the exact same case. Kash and shibolim is straw and grain, which is literally the same case of a kaitzer lischach. But says the Gemara over here, so I have the branch and I have the fruit on it. Okay? So what is the status? Says the Braisa, kulan. In all of these cases, the following is the halacha. If Psailes meruba al ha'eichlin. If there's more psailes than eichlin, what does that mean? There's more branch than fruit. There's more broom of palm than date. There's more straw than grain. Okay, in all these cases, if there's more of the psailes, what's the halacha? Ksheira, as schach. Thank you. Ve'im lav psula. And if not, it is possible. Pause for a moment. Why is that true? This is very easy to understand. Because to be schach, you have to be something which is not mekabel tuma. Which is what? The straw part, which is the branch part. The fruit part is mekabel tuma. So just envision, you cut down a massive, you went apple picking cholamite. So instead of bringing home the apples, you decided to bring home the whole tree. You start cutting down branches, you throw it in the back of your pickup truck. Now you're like, look at that, I got schach. You had these big branches with apples on them. So you take it, you throw it on top of your sukkah, beautiful, built-in decorations, apples hang down, give Aldi. So how do we know if it's kosher? Which is the roiv? If the branch is more than the fruit, it is kosher. If not, it is puzzle. Why? Classical din of bittul, we've seen this many, many times. That's the opinion of the Tana Kama. Achirim oimrim, say the achirim, an interesting detail. Until sheyehu kashin the straw merubin is more than al hayodois ve'al ha'oichlin. It has to be more than both the yodois, the handle, and the oichlin. What that basically means is when you have this big branch and the figs are hanging off of it, you have the long branch part which is further away, and the part right by the fruit, that's the yad, that's the handle, that's the way you'd basically pick up the fruit by the handle. So say the acherim, it's not dependent upon if the branch is more than the fruit. It's dependent upon if the branch is more than the handle and the fruit. So what's going on over here? Why is the achirim all of a sudden worried about the handle? My love suggests the Gemara Baha Kamifligi that this is the machlekes Timar Savar. And again, I'll just tell you what I always did in my Gemaras. It makes my life easy. On the top of the word Mar, I've written in which one. You always have two opinions, so you got to remember who's who. Timar Savar, the Acherim hold Yesh Lahen Yadois. The Acherim hold that anytime I have a branch with fruit, what's the halacha? It has a status of a yad, of a handle. The yad is mikabel toma. Therefore, what? Therefore, according to the Acherim, when they have to figure out for the schach, what do they need to calculate? The branch versus what? Not just the fruit, but the handle and the fruit, because they hold the handle and the fruit is one entity. And there is a din of Toma. That's the Acherim. Umar Savar, whereas the Tanakama holds Ein Lahen Yadis. According to Tanakama, he doesn't hold anything about Yadis. There's no din of Yad. There's no din of a handle for all these cases of Toma. And therefore, when you want to be Mavatal, how do you figure it out? Branch versus fruit. Again, I want to say this again. It actually sounds complicated, but it's really not so difficult. I would love a piece of paper right now. Wait for it. I got an extra piece of paper.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Will end up being more.
No, that's my daughter's coloring. I'm not sure where that's in my bag, but don't know if she'll appreciate that I messed that one up. 1 second. Let's see. Here we go. That's better. That's better. 1 second. I'm sorry. This is going to be a serious drawing. This, oh, you can't see it. Shoot. It's good. That's a branch with a fruit on it. That's a branch with a fruit on it. According to the Tanakama, how do we figure out what's what? It's the whole branch versus the fruit. So according to the Takana, and I'm just going to, for demonstrative purposes, as they say, I think I pronounced that right. This part I just circled, that's the yad. The part of the branch where the fruit connects to the branch, that is the yad. So according to the Tanakama, is this circled part consequent to us at all? No. They don't care about the yad. Why not? Because according to Tanakama, they hold that the yadois are not relevant to our discussion. Ein lehen yadois. There's no din of a yad l'toma. Whereas, according to the Acherim, yesh lahem yadais. So according to the Acherim, when you want to figure out how to be mevatel this, what do you have to do? You have to calculate the fruit and the yad versus the rest of the whole story. So suggests the Gemara that in this brisa, hidden within it, maybe we could suggest that this is the machlekes, whether there is yad by the fruit or not. I'll just to say it outside, and then I want to stop so everyone can have a minute to read this because this is not easy Gemara. To say it outside very simply, we started off with a machlekes. When you harvest grapes for wine, there's no din of yad. When you harvest wheat for schach, there's no din of yad. Says the Gemara, if you hold of the case of harvesting the wheat for the wine, certainly in the other case, there's no din of yad. Why is there no din of yad? Because you don't want the yad there. You don't want this little piece inside your wine. You just want the big grape. Why do you just want the big grape? Because this piece over here is going to mess up your wine. But according to the opinion that says that it's only the case of the great. Maybe in this bottom case, this is a wheat stalk. Pretty terrible picture, but that's a wheat stalk. And that little circle inside over there, that is the kernel. So he would tell you, you want the kernel there. Why do you want the kernel there? Because it gives it some weight and it holds it down. So this machlaikas, whether there's a din of yadai, suggests the Gemara is the machlaikas in this brisa, the Tanakama versus the Acherim. The Acherim say there is a din of yadais, and the Tanakama says there is no din of yadais. And tomorrow we'll pick it up from here, and we'll take it the next step. This is one of those Gemaras you really have to take piece by piece. Let's try, as always, to... Should have been as always, but as always, we could just say it. As always, let's read through the Gemara. Let's read through the Gemara. The best is, of course, if everyone can read it to each other. You can't read it to each other, you read it to yourself. I'm happy to read it with someone. And then tomorrow we'll pick it up from here. But this is one of those Gemaras. It is complicated, but if we read it well tonight, we do a good Chazar tomorrow, then hopefully by tomorrow night we'll be able to take it to the next step.